Hey folks, welcome back to another video. We're back for more CSGB action, this time at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya for the 11th round of the championship. It actually had a great qualifying for a change, starting P3 on the grid, so well in contention for a good result. We're going to go aggressive on the setup as well, starting on the medium tyres. It does give us a little bit more flexibility in terms of early safety cars, which tends to be the case as opposed to late ones. That's not always the way it goes, but we're going to take that chance and start on the mediums. As you can see, we've got Brad on our right there also opting for the same approach, and I believe a lot of other drivers did the same. So we do get ready to move off the grid. Fortunately, as I say, the formation lap's recently back into the game after some issues, so it's good to have those back, getting lined up now. A few more little burnouts before we get underway. Nice and steadily coming up to our grid slot. All purple, lovely stuff. Unfortunately, we weren't purple in qualifying, but we're purple on the grid as we get underway very, very shortly. So, all dry weather for the duration of the race as well. Classic Spanish weather as the 5 lights come on. And it's a bit of a hold this time, but away we go, and it's not too bad. We do match those ahead of us. Milsom, on the other hand, gets a really good start on the inside, but has to back out. There's not enough room, and same goes for us as well on the run down to turn 1. We haven't got enough room to go for a move here. We do try and hold it around the outside, but there's just not doing, really. There's not enough room to put the car alongside as Milsom comes through on our inside into turn 3, and he's just carrying more speeds on a better line. There's not a lot we can do at this point, so we settle in to 4th place. Down a position already, but not the end of the world at these very, very early stages. Although this is probably the best time to make up ground, as there's a bit of contact ahead between Milsom and Brad. But I'm not sure if there was any damage picked up, because I know that at this point the pace for Milsom did drop off a bit, so I do wonder if he was struggling with front grip, as he does run. I don't know if he runs wide or we just have superior front end through that corner, but we get alongside. I managed to hold the outside here and get a better run, but we're just sitting alongside, and then the worst timing for a virtual safety car is we have to back out and wait behind for a later opportunity, as the VSC was disabled on the main straight going on to lap 3, and we dropped off a little bit because, well, the Delta had some weird behaviour, let's say, where it flashed up red for a moment and it just made me hesitate, so that wasn't ideal. Move on to the end of lap 3, and we've closed up to the back of Milsom again, running a bit wide into the chicane, pushing hard to try and stay ahead of me, but we know we've got the DRS here, and it should be a fairly straightforward pass down the main straight, a little bit of ERS to help us out, and yeah, we do have the move done. He's sitting there alongside, but we've got the inside line crucially, and we can get the apex, and that's the position gained. So a nice little move there to move us back up into where we started, as we look ahead to just set some laps now, roughly in the 121.4s at this point, but just consistently in the mid 121s for now. We haven't really closed at all on the front runners. They've disappeared down the road, but we have got away from the cars behind. So at this point, we're sort of in no man's land, and that's the way it stayed for most of the first half of the race. It didn't have much in the way of action to speak of, but that's sometimes the way you want it. You just want to have an opportunity to set some laps. But we did run a little bit wider. We did make a mistake, and that nearly cost us a good race result, because I sort of started grinding the sausage curb like some out of Tony Hawk, frankly. So luckily we got away with that, and we continue on in 3rd place as Brad comes into the pits on lap 13. We skip ahead a lot because, as I say, not an awful lot happened, but then the unthinkable. F122 game crashes.
What?
So absolute disaster. We do manage to get back in very quickly, and at this point I thought, well, it's race over basically, because the AI's taken over. There's no guarantees I can rejoin, but we're just going to hope that we can get in. So we do manage to take control back of the car, and as we get back underway, we discover a yellow caution, and I run wide and do that grind again. 50-50 twice in this race, get bonus points for that. But we understandably frustrated come in because the tyres have gone completely cold because the AI was taking over the car. But then we come into the pits and discover that it is actually a safety car period. You can see the yellow dot through sector 1 of the lap. So that was a bit of a bonus for us in that sense, because it meant we weren't out of the race yet, which was really, really lucky, it must be said. So in the end, we didn't lose position. Now, we would have probably got some kind of gains on Brad out of this with the overcut, but it wasn't too much of a loss in the end. So despite what for me is quite a rare game crash during a league race, it didn't cost us a great deal. So we can push on and we can fight from here, as we're all sort of neutralised again on the same tyres, at least in the top 3. We have to be wary of the cars behind though, as we shape up a move down the outside of Brad, but not enough speed carrying at the end, so couldn't really make the move, so we had to wait. And tyres are really not up to temperature yet. You have to tiptoe round at this point. It's horrible. So we knew we were under threat from the medium runners, who could frankly get their tyres up to a better temperature quicker than us. So we had to be very careful of that, as Brad had a huge moment coming out of that corner, and I did wonder if he was going to completely drop it, but you know, fortunately he held it. There's no harm done, and we push on. We'll try and use him to pull us along to defend from Eat My Dust and Snow behind, but owing to the mediums and probably a more straight line speed, a less draggy setup, he's gone coasting right past us. And there's not a lot we can do about it. So we do fall back into 4th now, hoping to follow Eat My Dust round a little bit longer and fight towards the end as the tyres come back to us. Because it was a slightly earlier stop, especially those going from hards to mediums. So it's falling into our favour later in the race, but we did have to be careful of that. As Snow went for a late dive down the inside, I didn't cover it off. This was on me, to be honest. I didn't cover it off, and through frustration, I clipped the inside sausage curb and ran wide and dropped another position as Eat My Dust went round out of turn 3, all happening on lap 19. As we dropped 2 positions but gain another one back, so net P5 at the moment. But yeah, just frustration from earlier boiling over. Tyres not in the window I was expecting them to be at this point, so a lot of challenges to overcome in these early, well, sort of mid stages of the race. As we look to the outside of Milsom, hoping for a move, but there's a bit of contact and we sort of have to yield there. There's not a lot more we can do without making more contact, and it's really not worth it. As we've got another car dropping it there, Snow, my rival ahead, Milsom's teammate, spinning it in the midfield. So really not ideal for him. We gain another spot for free, and we're weighing up Milsom for another pass now, as he's also on the hard tyres. So we look ahead to try and get this move done. As I say, like earlier, we got an easy DRS straight pass down in turn 1, fairly straightforward, kept it nicely on the apex, and jobs are good and really back up to a podium spot. You know, we haven't lost anything, we haven't gained anything at this point of the race, so we look to just push on and see what we can do about the cars ahead. Obviously our pace did stagnate around the low 21s, or the sort of high 20s, and unfortunately we still weren't really gaining very much on the cars ahead, and I think Milsom strategically was sort of waiting for the right moment to attack and probably saving his battery, because at this point he started gaining on me under the DRS, and I probably should have used a bit more on myself here to defend, but we just about held that into turn 1 as he was approaching fast from the back. So we do hold that for now, but we've got to be wary of that threat behind. As you'll note, that the front 2 have started battling quite intensively, so keep an eye on that, because this opened the door for an opportunity to close up and fight for the lead again. As you'll see, the times begin to absolutely tumble because they're too busy scrapping over this position with a few laps to go, probably not realising how much we were able to close up as a result of this. As Brad goes back through, there's a great little scrap between them, it must be said, but it was inviting us back into the fight, and that was crucial for our race at least. So swinging through the final sector, this awkward chicane, just about get it stopped, almost on the apex, and almost got the DRS here, which I think would have been absolutely crucial for the race. We could have genuinely fought for the lead here if we had got that DRS, but just outside it. But we go towards the end of the penultimate lap, and we are right on them now. Right on them. As Brad carries it out at the final corner, leading away this quartet. down the main straight. It's a long old straight, this one, as we know. The DRS is wide open for both Susie and myself, and Finn behind us too. So Susie manages to get through on the DRS straight, and we weren't able to do such a thing, but we do push on, hoping that maybe there's another opportunity at a DRS zone. But we noticed that we were getting a really good run on Brad here, so I thought, you know what, let's chuck it around the outside and see what happens. And you know what, I surprised myself, frankly, because we go round the outside and hold it round the outside as well. There's plenty of room for both of us. He is racing fair, and we do manage to get the inside for the next corner and complete the move. One of my best moves this season by far, if not my best move. That was fantastic, and at a track that is notoriously difficult to overtake at, I was very, very happy with that one. It put us up to P2 with Susie just up the road, and I think there's a good chance with one more lap we could have done something about that. But you know what? Considering the ups and downs of the race with the disconnect as well, we have to be pleased with this, with a P2 at the end of all this. So we're coming down through the final sector now, just playing it safe a little bit, not really taking any chances, but just in case Susie were to drop it, we're there to pounce. But you know what? We've got to take this result. It's fantastic points for the championship.
Yes! Come on! Yes! Fucking P2, what a move! Come on! Yes! Yes! Come on! That was beautiful! Who says you can't overtake at Spain? Fuck that! Your towel. Jesus Christ. Ugh. That was good, that. Oh man, no way. What a move. What a move. Last lap as well. Fucking yes, man.